Michael? Michael, go over there. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Get in. Get into the picture.
No, I don't like to get the video.
I'm going to ask you.
Queremos introducir a cada miembro.
Oh, here we are at...
Y ahí sigue Elisa, que es nuestra ahijada. Caralúa, nuestra otra hija. Isa, la mamá y la esposa. Y Amunca, el papá y el esposo. Muchas gracias. Y ahora les vamos a hacer una canción que es otra tradicional guatemalteca también. Se llama Linda María.
Javier Pacheco. Oh, yeah. Maybe you could tell us where were you?
August the 5th. I got an alibi.
You have an alibi. What is it?
I was, I don't know what the alibi is.
No, where were you?
Where was I? August the 5th?
1970.
Oh, you mean during the moratorium?
Exactly.
Good question. I think I was a MECHA member at Kenyatta College. Yeah. I was putting together Teatro Pocho in Redwood City at Kenyatta College. Is that Emmy behind those photographs?
That is Emmy.
Hi, Emmy. And you? I was waiting for you. Waiting for all of you. Oh, we are there. Yes, Javier, how are you? ¿Le tomaste a los de Guatemala?
Seguro que sí.
Okay.
Quiero que me digas algo sobre...
¿Sobre Guatemala o sobre el moratorio?
O Guatemala.
Bueno, ¿qué te puedo decir? Que tenemos mucha participación. Hay mucha gente, que yo estoy aquí desde las 12.
¿Tú estás aquí
desde las 12? De las 12 y ha estado fabuloso. Pero aparte de eso había una gran molestia allá abajo.
Los tambores.
No les permitieron vender nada. Cuando ya tenían puestas sus ventas, vino la policía y les dijo que tenían que moverse y sacar todo, y por eso no pudieron vender. Y tuvieron que quitar todas los puestos.
Was that Francisco down there? Let me say hi to him.
Yeah.
People rooting for the Ku Klux Klan as they kill my people, or for Jews to root for the extermination of their own, root for Adolf Hitler. It's the same madness that we're caught up with when we support these so-called cowboys, when we're playing these Buffalo Soldiers, these myths that says that indigenous people are savages. We must rewrite the history, the movies, the plays, the theaters, the oral history, the jokes, the clothes, even the games, so that indigenous people will be identified as they are, the freedom fighters of their land, fighting for the control of the land which has been given by them by history. We are the All-African People's Revolutionary Party will fight militantly wherever we have chapters in the United States, Europe, Canada, Africa, the Caribbean, Central America. Our history is one. We can look at the Olmec history. We can even look at the recent article published in UC Davis, which states that the original term, Negro, mulatto, colored, was designated for the children of the offspring of African and Indians who lived on independent lands. The children were then called Negro, colored, and Creole. But because of the fear of the European class, capitalist class, of the unity of the bond between African and indigenous people, they took the term and rewrote it to mean African people. So once again, there's a long history with the Olmec culture, which is recent, post-slavery period, of African Indian people coming together. Our history is one. We have much to learn from the Native Americans.
Thank you, Brother Ken. On behalf of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, we are truly honored to be here today in solidarity with indigenous people of this land, be they Chicano, be they Brown, be they American Indian people, be they Guatemalan, El Salvadorian, Nicaraguan. We are proud to be here in solidarity to you because we understand the history of our natural alliance as African people and as American Indian people, indigenous people of this land and indigenous people of Africa. You protected us during slavery. We fled slavery and you protected us. You helped us. enemy is. It is not our men. We stand in solidarity with you today. And we say that no one will be free until all indigenous people are free. No one will be free until men and women are united and standing together in solidarity in our common fight against the oppressors of the world. Until all indigenous people are free, until African people are free, American Indian people are free, Chicano people, Palestinian people, El Salvadorian people, the people of Ireland, no one will be free. We say, United States out of El Salvador, United States out of South Africa, United States out of America, United States out of America. Forward ever, backwards never.
Thank you. ¡Ahúa! ¡Que viva! ¡Que viva la raza! ¡Ay! Pues tenemos un anuncio aquí. We got an announcement here. Remember Lares, a cultural political evening commemorating el grito de Lares, the independent struggle for Puerto Rico's independencia. It's going to be happening Saturday the 24th at Cap Street Centro. That's 362 Cap Street aquí en San Fran. It opens at 7 o'clock and el programa comienza a las 7:30. Independencia para Puerto Rico. Independencia para la chicanada. Independencia para la raza. Pues aquí tenemos, we got some bailarines coming up now. Que no, Holmes, dances aquí que viene.
Those of you that are sitting up front, you might have to readjust your space a little bit. We're going to ask the dancers to stay close to the earth today.
Aquí la gente, the women here laying down, getting some rays. Hello, are we there? Could you move back a little bit?
Oh yeah,
Eso.
Yep. Another phone call.
Gotta go make a phone call. Look what I found over here. I found it last night. Hey, show that last night.
Don't worry about it.
Tenemos más
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to present our group. First, at the end, David Yanez. Secondly, David Vargas de San Jose. Francisco Galán de México. Miguel Martínez de México. Alicia Gómez de El Salvador. Y Chuy de Sacramento. Yo soy Adela Ochoa de aquí de San Francisco. Y el director del grupo Gerardo Salinas de Tacuba, México. The following dance is Tezcatlipoca, dedicated to the god of the smoking mirror, the god of night.
You're just giving people a hard time,
Next, the men will dance La Águila Blanca, the dance of the White Eagle.
Thank you very much.
Rock and roll, who says Chicanos can rock? Norteño rock, eh? Rockteño. Pues we got one of the originals aquí, and he was sort of influential in bringing the saxophone into música norteña, música chicana, música de rock. One of the early Chicano innovators de la música aquí, de rock and roll. Aquí tenemos, we got with us today a homeboy, y además de eso, one of the few Chicano doctors and professors. We got a couple of them here today, and aquí tenemos al conjunto de Dr. Loco's original Chicano Boogie Band. Un gran aplauso, el Get Down, que no, ándale homie, ándale. Corrido Boogie Band, le meto más.
raza. Hey, it's great to be here with you on a Saturday en el parque, conmemorando el Moratorio Chicano. We're here to do some Chicano music, some rocking jalapeno music. And we'd like to follow up that good old standard Chicano hit that was made popular by the Midnighters with una canción que también viene de la tierra caliente. You know, one of the things that happens in the Chicano experience is that we integrate the music, the song, the poetry of many other cultures from throughout Latin America and North America. And one of the genres that has come into the Chicano experience viene de la Tierra del Sol, de Colombia. En los colombianos, nuestros hermanos colombianos nos han ofrecido muchas cosas muy artísticas. Y una de ellas es la cumbia, and Chicanos have taken the cumbia and we've integrated it into our own experience. And we'd like to play for you a classic in the Chicano experience, una cumbia that everybody relates to. But I'd like to see y'all stand up and enjoy your music, because Chicano music isn't to be sit down and just enjoy. You have to stand up and move to it. So déjame invitarlos, wherever you are, just stand up. Stand up and stretch out, move a little bit, let's get some blood in your system. A bailar la cumbia del sol, ándale raza. If you're alive, stand up. Aquí les va. Conga mic, please. Monitor. Here. barrios throughout the Southwest. One of the things that we need to do, we need to levantar más conciencia and think about the meaning of being homeboys. Think of what that means, the kind of confianza, the kind of trust, the kind of respect, the kind of support that we should be providing one another, both inside the barrios and outside the barrios. And a little tune that we kind of put together, that we dedicate this one to all of our homeboys, especially to all the raza from the barrios. We call this one Homeboys Boogie, and this one goes out very especially to one of Nigeria's homeboys, Gloria Hernandez. This one's for you. One, two, three, four. You'll have to forgive us for having a little difficulty back here with electricity, as you can tell, with the power system. But we'll keep going no matter what. Just like the raza, we never start. We'd like to now change the pace. One of the things that the raza has given to el mundo es Tex-Mex. Y lo que viene del sur de Texas. Y aquí les va una que viene de por allá. This is a real Chicano hit. It was written by Chicanos, produced by Chicanos, and picked up by everybody else. We've transculturated this one. We call this one Peanuts con cerveza, ahí le va. You know, just like we have this music that comes from the south of California, like the Midnighters, Cannibal and the Headhunters. And then we have Tejanos that contribute to the Chicano musical experience, like Sunny and the Sunliners, the Sunglows, Jimmy Edwards, Little Joe. We also have one very famous one that contributes to the Bay Area experience. That experience that we had a Chicano take that which was salsa and combine it with that which was psychedelic, and he invented a whole new genre that we could call salsa delica. Here's one for Carlos Santana featuring our own René Pacheco, Righteous Carnal #1 from Redwood City, doing Flor de Luna para ustedes. a special guest artist. We'd like to bring this guy up. This is one of the heavy-duty performers, new and up-and-coming performers that represents La Raza Cosmica. We'd like to have you give a big hand to our main man, the guy who's going to take place of Richie Valens in the history of Chicano music. Let's bring him up. John Doe, come on up here, boy. He's got to come up and do some singing for you. Here he comes now. Now, John Doe's going to rock out on a really big-time Chicano hit. And this will show you how our música goes from one generation to the next. And it never dies precisely because of chavitos like this guy. Here comes the son of Guy Lopez and Nani Carrillo, el Loco John Doe.
Did you like what you hear? There's more to come. Un gran aplauso aquí for Dr. Loco and the original Boogie Band. Corrido Boogie Band. Chicano Boogie Band. Pues just for your information, Dr. Loco, along with the next group that will be playing shortly, Casa India, will be playing tonight at La Peña F to a after moratorium party. La Peña is located at 3105 Sharik Avenida in Basurclas. So we'll check everybody out tonight. Also, just to let everybody know, if you're out there cruising the streets aquí de Norte, en La Bahía, La Onda Bajita, Rao del Barrio Aztlán, at KPFA.
Jose Garcia.
Mis queridos carnales y carnalas, I want you to raise your hands and wave. Who saw the Milagro Beanfield Wall movie? Wave it so I can see it. Okay, a lot of you people saw it. It's like Dennis says, art imitates life. The real situation, the life part of it, is a situation which is not entertaining like the movie. It is a situation full of sadness and hunger and poverty and ignorance and disease. Why? You know why. Because at a certain point in time, the invader arrived from across the great waters. And they promised one thing that they kept. All the other promises they did not keep. As a great Indian chief once said, they promised to take our land and they took it. I am from Nuevo Mexico. In Nuevo Mexico, right now, outside of the town of Tierra Maria, is a family headed by Amador Flores. Right now, his family, his parents, his grandchildren, his children, members of the community, have barricaded themselves on their own Chicano ancestral land. They have armed themselves and made bunkers to protect themselves from somebody we all know about. And he is the corporate, land-hungry, real estate, land development monster. Millions of acres since 1848. Millions of acres of Chicano land have disappeared into the hands of this corporate monster. You, Chicanos here in the city of San Francisco, or whatever city you're from, either you, your parents, your grandparents, or your great-grandparents before that are victims of the dispossession of your land, their land. It is our land. That's why most of us are here. Not by choice, but because we were driven into the barrios. Because the land-hungry invader took our land by creating an atmosphere, a condition of poverty, unemployment, and you know the rest of it. And so it was easy for them to buy up our land due to our poverty. In Tierra Maria, the people in the bunkers have said that they will not leave. They will stay, tierra o muerte. A couple of weeks ago, Amador Flores made the mistake of leaving the bunkers and going into the town of Tierra Maria. He was arrested. He is now in prison. The judge has said that he will stay in jail until they move off the land. He says they will never move off the land. What does that mean to us? You may think, because you may live as well as I do here in the city, walking on several inches of concrete and being surrounded by concrete and steel, that La Tierra is very far away. It isn't. You're standing on it right now. She is our mother. And it doesn't matter whether you're walking on 8 inches or 8 feet of concrete. Your Indian roots reach down, because they must reach down by an act of nature into La Tierra, into our mother, the earth, and we are her children. And that is why for 140 years, since the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, since our land began to get ripped off and disappear from our hands, the land struggle has been going on and on and on. And it wasn't just the famous figures which you're all familiar with, like Reyes Tijerina and the Tijerina brothers, who organized the Alianza Federal de Mercedes in New Mexico in the 60s. Y que viva Tijerina! It wasn't just he and other courageous people like in the Alianza who began seriously organizing to reclaim our land. They're not the only ones that have been in the land struggle. They are the most renowned and some of the most courageous. But the land struggle goes on. It goes on in Texas, Califas, Colorado, Arizona, and in many other places, in Aztlán and in the rest of Turtle Island, North America. And I want to pay tribute this afternoon to someone, or rather the people who usually are forgotten, who fight the land struggle every day. The people that we don't hear about. These are the people who have held on to their land, be it a little plot, or a few acres, or many acres, and who, in spite of the economic stranglehold that local, state, and federal governments have put on them to leave their land by creating misery, lack of health services, unemployment, a second-grade education, they still remain on the land. They live and eke out a living and die on the land rather than give it up. Why? Because we as Chicanos, Indios, are one with the land. We are one with our mother. Our roots are our umbilical cord through this mother. Without her, we cannot live. And without our earth, even if you are an urban Chicano, you still cannot live. Because it is from the sweat and the blood and the suffering of our hermanos, the obreros over in the valley, that we get our food and that we wear our cotton jockey shorts and our t-shirts. It is because of them that we live. We're not separated from them. We are one with our brothers as we are all one with our land, our tierra madre. Don't ever forget that, Chicanos. Remember that every day, Raza. So that if nothing else, the least that we can do, even if we are not living on the land and protecting it and cleaning it up, we can still support it. We can chalequear y echarles billetes. We can have fundraisers support the Treaty Council, the Moratorium, the National Human Rights Chicano Council. We can support those people that are in the front lines, but it's all of us. And I want to mention something else. In closing, I want to say something that you may not have ever heard before, but I'm making a prediction. The Chicano struggle for our land is going to have to parallel another action. Besides the traditional way of organizing and educating and putting whatever pressure is necessary to reclaim our land, we are going to have to do something else. We were going to have to clean it up, because as Cesar Chavez said through his fast, where he put his life on the line, what he is telling us is they're poisoning it. It's not the obreros' children that are being poisoned by those pesticides. We are all being slowly poisoned by the pesticides and the poisons that are put in our food, in the water, in the air. And there is something else that is just as serious and just as drastic. You read every day in the newspapers about the changing climate. Well, let me tell you, all they ever tell you in the newspapers is that the greenhouse effect, due to this big blanket over the earth of carbon dioxide, is producing the greenhouse effect. It's supposed to be getting hotter, and it is. But it's getting hotter mainly around the equator and the lower latitudes. We know, remember from high school chemistry and physics, heat in the air brings up water vapor. That water vapor goes up into the air, and when it hits a cold climate, north and south pole, it gets cold, and you get snow and rain, and that becomes ice. Within the last 70 years, the CO2, carbon dioxide level, has gone rapidly from 280 parts per million to 350 parts. What the scientists are telling us is that 350 parts per million brings on the ice age. And this is not a wacko idea of mine. I am listening to the scientists. Read check your newspapers. It's going to come out because some of us are going to make sure that it comes out. What may happen is what our Indian elders, our Chicano elders have been telling us for a long time, and the scientists are just barely now getting hip to it. And that is, it is very possible that within the next few years, if we do not stabilize our climate by reducing the CO2 in the air, and we can do that, that Aztlán will be under a permanent layer of 3, 4, 5 feet of snow, and we will not be able to grow any crops. We will slowly starve after 2 or 3 years. We can do this. We can heal it. We can heal the earth. We can reduce the CO2 by doing simple things. Again, read your newspapers. You'll get hip to it. We can pressure the government to take the money from killing people through the military and put people to work, planting trees, reforestation, remineralizing the roots so that these trees are healthy, so that these trees can absorb the CO2, so that they can form carbon out of the CO2 and give us the oxygen which we need to breathe, because our brothers and sisters, the trees, help us to breathe and to live and to maintain the balance on this earth. So that's jobs for us. That's stabilizing the climate, and that's cleaning up our earth and protecting our earth. Chicano and Indio must be at the forefront in the land struggle of the 90s, which is not just to reclaim our land, but to heal it, to clean it up, and to make it livable for us. The last thing is, let's be at the forefront and take the rightful leadership of the Chicano and the Indian, of becoming once again the custodians of this land that is ours, so that once we have cleaned it up and made it livable again, so that we're not poisoning ourselves anymore or our children, we can get back to what we were doing when the invader came a long time ago. And that is to take out our drums and to get back to the serious business of living. Gracias.
So gracias a Roberto Jose Garcia, our spiritual leader who has given us advice. Some of you might say, pues, so what? You know, big deal about the air and what we breathe. Pues, you ever seen a fish out of water? Echando patadas. Pues that's what can happen to us if we don't take care of and clean up our land. You know, talking about land, there's going to be a thing happening in Nuevo Mexico on September the 17th in Tierra Amarilla. There's going to be a gathering to build unity with the Mexican National Liberation Revolution and to win the Tierra Amarilla land battle. And also it'll commemorate the Mexican independence from España and the first liberated territory in occupied Mexico. You know, the land battle ahorita in Tierra Amarilla is but a continuation of the Mexican battle, you know, and the Mexicans' aspirations to get their national liberation by snatching it from the clutches of those that conquered. And the battle cry is being heard throughout Aztlán right now, what's happening in Tierra Amarilla about the reclaiming of land taken. So everybody's invited if you're going to be in the area, and we know that there's moratoriums happening everywhere, not only here in San Francisco, but in Los Angeles, in Fresno, in Texas, in Santa Cruz, etc., etc. So if you're going to be in the area on the 16th, Friday, the 16th, in the morning, wait around, because the following day there's going to be a breakfast at the headquarters there. The headquarters is located off of the Rancho de Colonia de Jesus Maria Martinez. And after the lonche and the breakfast, the breakfast and the lonche, at 7:30, they're going to begin with workshops that run all the way to 10 a.m. and then from 1:45 on. Es importante, if you're an activist, if you're a nationalist moviéndose throughout Aztlán, we'd like to check this out, because there's going to be a lot happening there, and it affects everybody here. that's Chicano Mexicano. So ahorita, I'm going to turn it over to Dennis, and we got some more speakers coming up, and then we have Casi Indio from Sacras. It's going to be continuing with the festivities. Pero primero, Dennis has an anuncio here of one of the poetas del movimiento.
September 17th, Tierra Amarilla, northern New Mexico. Be there. Go there. Help with the struggle. There's other activities today in other cities to bring this date to the consciousness of the people. Phoenix, Arizona, Santa Cruz, San Diego, Fresno, San Antonio, Austin, Texas, Colorado Springs, Denver. We must remember the gente, those communities of Chicanos who live all over. And starting her earlier years in one such community, one of the largest Chicano communities is in the city of Chicago, where Ana Castillo is from. But in her long search for identifying the struggle and sharing with the rest of us her experiences as a Chicana, she's come to represent the cultural movement of all Chicana poets. She's presently assistant professor at Chico State University, and she'll be reading from My Father Was a Toltec, poems by Ana Castillo. At this time, it gives me great honor, pride to announce and introduce Ana Castillo. We ask for your listening at this time. It's very difficult for a poet to read to a crowd of this size.
I'm not a speaker. The thing I can do best is share with all of you some of my words. But I'd like to remember, as Dennis Jennings said, I'm from Chicago, and I'd like to remember with this reading 2 women from Chicago who gave up their lives in independence in their struggles for their communities. One of them, her name was Maria Salcedo, Mexican-born, Mexicana, Chicana, was instrumental in getting a new high school put in the Mexican barrio in Chicago, worked very hard, very tenaciously, and was killed in a fire in her home in the barrio in Chicago a few years ago. Another woman who I also work with and knew in Chicago, who worked in her community and also got a high school put up in her community, was Carmen Valentin, who's doing 99 years in prison now for her struggle for the independence of Puerto Rico. So these 2 poems go out to them. La India carga su bandera sobre su cara, manchada de sangre. Sus cicatrices corren como las carreteras viejas de su tierra y la India no se queja. Le preguntan por qué no cuenta su historia y ojos húmedos responden que le cuentan todo al que quiere oír. Si acaso abre su boca, sale la canción del mar, los ecos del viento, hay volcanes inquietos en el pecho de la India. Sus huesos se han hecho del polvo de 50,000 muertos. El grito doloroso de ellos es el silencio de la India. Ayer tuvo un hombre que le hizo sueños del aire. Tuvo sus hombres la India, pero ahora no tiene a nadie. Del mundo es la India, y si la ves bailando en vestido de seda o pidiendo en la calle, no le preguntes el por qué o tal razón por su camino. El destino de la India es la bandera que carga sobre su cara quemada, dura de sangre seca, y la India no se queja de nada. I'd like to leave you with an excerpt from a poem in My Father Was a Toltec. It's called In My Country. It says, "This is not my country. In my country, men do not play at leaders, women do not play at men, There is no God crucified to explain the persistence of cruelty in my country. I do not stand for cutbacks, layoffs, and pay union dues. Companies do not close down to open up again in far-off places where eating is the main objective. In my country, men do not sleep with guns beneath their pillows. They do not accept jobs building weapons. They don't lose their mortgages, pensions, their faith, or their dignity. In my country, children are not abused, beaten into adulthood, left with sitters who resent them for the meager salary a single parent can afford. They do not grow up to repeat the pattern. In my country, I did not wait in line for milk coupons for my baby, get the wrong prescription at the clinic, was not forced to give my ethnic origin, nor died in a natural death. In my country, I am not exotic. I do not have Asian eyes. I was not raised on a reservation. I do not go artificially blonde. The sun that gravitates to my dark pigmentation is not my enemy. This is not my world. In my world, Mesoamerica was a magnificent Quetzal. Africa and its inhabitants were left alone. Arab women don't cover their faces or allow their sexual parts to be torn out. In my world, no one is prey. Death is not a relief. I don't bet on reincarnation or heaven or lose the present in apathy or oblivion. In my world, I am a poet who can rejoice in the coming of Halley's Comet, the wonders of Machu Picchu, and the sudden kiss. In my world, I breathe clean air. I don't anticipate nuclear war. I speak all languages. I don't negate aging, listen to myths to explain my misery or create them. In my world, the poets sang loud and clear, and everyone heard without recoiling. It was sweet as harvest, sharp as tin, strong as the northern wind, and all had a coat warm enough to bear it. Gracias.
Thank you, Ana. Thank you, Ana Castillo. Her books are on sale, many local progressive bookstores, very many other selections.
Jose Montoya con el grupo Casi Indio. Un gran aplauso, por favor.
Buenas tardes, raza. Are you out there or what? Viva la raza. Viva la huelga que todavía sigue en chinga. I was in Delano last week with a lot of the folks that are here were there, and it was a real spirit-lifting experience to see what that little short warrior has put out for us, almost his life, because he cares a lot about us and he cares a lot about our health. So wherever you're from, wherever you go back, go to the people in those markets and tell them to get them goddamn grapes off the shelves. Viva la huelga! It's going to take a while to hook these. See, not that long. We went to play in Mexicali, and some of those mariachis saw me putting this thing in this vihuela, and they looked at me like I was violating somebody. Chicanos have to do it whatever way they can. That's what oppression has taught us. So we're hooking up here to get going. 2 weeks before I was in Delano, I was in East Los. Viva East Los! And it was pretty bleak. Because I can remember marching through Atlantic onto Whittier over to Laguna Park and driving your car nowadays, seeing that same area, it's kind of a real weird feeling because you hear what we heard on that day. Chicano Moratorium throughout East Los, man. And you wanted to hear that, la madre. But what was good about those trips for me was that it kind of
took me back to those early days when being Chicano was nothing to be ashamed of, just as it is nothing to be ashamed of today, except there are a whole lot of people that are bailing out on us and becoming something else. Nomás que den una pasadita por las pintas, ahí están los chicas patas, todavía hay chicanos, raza. We're coming today from Sacramento, el Trío Casindio y el Royal Chicano Air Force. While there's been a kind of a lull in the movement, the RCAF has been flying kind of low. But since we fly Adobe airplanes, it really don't matter, because if we crash, we just become a little pyramid. ¡Viva la raza! Que no se les olvide, hijos de la buena, está bueno. We're going to take you on a little trip through the barrio as soon as we get hooked up here. And we're going to do it with music. We're going to do it with songs. We're going to do it with a little poetry. We're going to do it con un corazón casindio. First, we're going to do a little medley that was arranged by our maestro that I'll introduce these folks in a little while. But we thought it would be appropriate to begin with Cuatro Milpas. Porque Cuatro Milpas dice que nomás 4 milpas han quedado. And what the developers and the vendidos have done to our barrios, ya casi ni eso queda, raza. But we hope that you remember a little bit about how sad it is to see your barrio being taken over. So Cuatro Milpas nos va a empezar a llevar por el barrio, and then we're going to jump into our cruising lowrider called El Rocinante. Ow! So we're going to be cruising Rocinante through the barrio, and we're going to be seeing all the beautiful things in the barrio. And then we're going to take a little journey out to Los Files, pa los llanos, de donde también somos, no solo somos de las ciudades, somos de los llanos, de los campos. So we're going to do Alma Llanera in the same medley. And then, because we would rather see violence than initiate it, we're going to see una pelea de gallos. Little violence just to keep from going crazy. And then, because we're all obnoxious romantics as Latinos, Chicanos, Hispanos, lo que seamos, pero los Chicanos, todo el tiempo les ha gustado that whole cheek-to-cheek number. Dr. Loco's a master at that. Javier Pacheco se avienta. When those guys play, you just want to cuddle up and do it. Ay, Amalia, no wonder Daddy loved you so much. Following the medley that we're going to take you through, entonces, one that I wrote especially for the moratorium, que se llama Garbanzo Beret. Y se llama Garbanzo Beret because on that day, the people that I saw do an awful lot of damage to the pigs and to all the other oppressors there that day were the Chicano bikers. So Garbanzo Beret es una rola de un scooter bum chicas patas, montado en su montura de fierro. Ha! Ho! Ha, ha, ha. Ya mero. Juanito, my sound man, ¿dónde andas? Ya se nos perdió, por ahí está enamorado abajo de un árbol, yo creo. After Garbanzo Beret, we're going to try and do el contrabando del paso for all the carnales que están en La Torcidas, que nos están escuchando, because that's where the largest population of Chicanos is at. And we fooled them once. We told them we were going to have a revolution, and we started Pinto programs, and then we didn't deliver, and quién sabe qué pasó. But if we are ever going to need insurgents, esos son los que van a hacer. Vivan los carnales en La Torcida. And then we're going to wind it down with a poem about what it was like to be a soldado raso. I'm old enough to have been in World War II, but I didn't get in on that one, but I sure got picked up in Korea. Police section, didn't see a goddamn cop around. So we're gonna do Soldado Raso. We're gonna begin with a nice little guitar rendition. And this is the new instrument in the trio. This is a harmonica. Tenía otra que estaba muy diferente y cada vez que me daba un vueltón así se me llevaban los bigotes a la madre, man. So what I've done is I've made one out of a clothes hanger. It works pretty good. Is this working? That paper already? No, you want to take it off? Testing, 1, 2. Okay, la cruise through the barrio con 4 milpas y luego de ahí nos vamos en el Rocinante al llano y luego una pelea de gallos y acabamos con solamente una vez. Salamanders for sale. What was that? ese Rocinante. Okay, the monitors aren't doing us any good here, so I don't know.
Let me change that. I want to do that yours.
Who's in charge here?
¡Órale, pásese! ¿Qué pasó?
She didn't change anything. Okay, esta es la canción de Garbanzo Parade. This is the one about the biker, and that will get us off the stage. We'll see you tonight at La Peña. We're going to be there with Dr. Loco, Primavera, y toda la raza. ¡Viva la raza! El día 29 de agosto, señores, el mero día de la marcha, se escribió la historia muy inesperable de un amigo de la causa. Le decían Garbanzo, no era militante, no andaba en el movimiento. Pero en aquel día de infamia, señores, su valor sirvió de ejemplo. Montado en su Harley, se sintió orgulloso de ver tanto mexicano. Con una botella de birria en la mano, gritaba vive el chicano. Por la calle Fuirie, la raza marchaba en protesta del gobierno. Con puños alzados, unidos gritaban, vive el poder del chicano. Al llegar al parque, Garbanzo notaba demasiados policías. Le decía a su compa, esta va a estar pelona, hay que jugarla bien fría. El Parque Lagunas parecía una fiesta de colores. ¿Quién iba a pensar que esa tarde de amores se convirtiera en horrores? ayudarle a la gente. Montaron sus bestias monturas de fierro y se lanzaron al frente. Falta otra. Garbanzo y la yuca se estaban sonando, echaos en sus mosaicos. Cuando oyeron tiros, gritos y alaridos, todo se volvió un mosaico. Los chotas de pronto bloquearon las calles con barreras formidables. Garbanzo en su Harley entraba y salía, azote de los cobardes. Échate la tercera. Por la calle Fuirie, la raza marchaba en protesta del gobierno. ¿Quién iba a pensar que esa tarde de amores se convirtiera en horrores? There's a young man out there that's selling, or at least taking donations, because I understand we can't sell. The Casindio album, ¿dónde anda por ahí? Allá está, mira. We got Casindio albums for sale, and if you don't donate, no vamos a llegar al chante porque se acabó el gas. Y se acabó. No podemos, ¿verdad? Okay, ya vino el hook. So we're off. See you tonight en La Peña. Muchas gracias, raza. ¡Que viva la raza! ¡Ahúa! ¡No se oye! ¡Viva la raza! ¡Eso! Don't buy grapes.
Boycott grapes, eh? Órale. Casindio, órale. Tonight at La Peña, along with Dr. Loco and the original Chicano Corrido Boogie Band. Pues, we got a little anuncio. You're listening to
Oh, my relations. I've been told I have a very short time with you today. But we've been having a good time and we're going to rock and roll with some more music. I'll be here next year and the years to come. Today is a good day. And I want to greet my brothers and my relatives who are here. All the sacred colors. It is days like this that I am proud to be an Indian. And I know you are too. All we have to do is look at our cuero, the skin that we have. It comes from this tierra. It doesn't come from Europe. My relatives, indeed we are in a very critical time. But it is a great time to be alive. Because we have the greatest challenge that this history of this planet, Mother Earth, has ever witnessed. At no other time has danger been put upon us on this sacred Mother Earth as it is today. All these industrialized powers, under the disguise of having to protect themselves, they create these bombs and dig in uranium, which is polluting the air and polluting the water. We've said it before, that we may not have very much time. And yes, I did. I was among the Indian delegation that crashed the party in Moscow when Ronald Reagan was there to talk about human rights violations in the Soviet Union. We are compelled as American Indian movement to go there, center stage, and tell him, wait a minute, you want to talk about human rights violations? Let's talk about human rights violations, what's happening here in the United States. Yes, he shot himself in the foot when he spoke there in Moscow University, saying that Indian people are primitives. Yet we are the ones as Indian people. The U.S. Constitution is based on Indian beliefs and philosophy. The U.S. Constitution was usurped from our own 6 Confederate nations from the East Coast. We have to be aware of these things. History is very important. While I'm talking here, this radio is hooked up from as far north as Chico down to Bakersfield in the greater Bay Area. And I want to salute my brothers and sisters who are in prison because we are here in resistance to challenge the monster of the world. The #1 international gun trader in the world. Yes, we are living in the belly of it. We have to look at the future now. We invited you here to share with Chicano Cultura, Chicano Música, Chicano Poetas, and our solidarity speakers who represent people throughout the world who are fighting for liberation to end this colonization period that we have been under for almost 500 years. 1992, compañeros, compañeras, 1992. We are at the period where we can turn the reloj para atrás and regain our dignity, regain our destiny, because we do have a rendezvous with destiny on this Mother Earth. We are the caretakers, and we should learn to understand that. Right now we are witnessing these presidential campaign elections. Dukakis and Cuello, cabrones que son con la historia de ellos. We should be aware of their history. And we haven't much to say about Dukakis and Benston tampoco. They are anti-Indian también. Benston, while he was in the Senate in 1986, he voted to steal 200,000 acres from the Anishinaabe people, from the Chippewa people at the White Earth Reservation in Minnesota. Dukakis is opposing a bill, the Bradley bill, that wants to give back to the Lakota, to the Sioux people of South Dakota, 3 million acres that is rightfully theirs, that includes the Black Hills. So we have to be aware of the history of this traditional two-party system. We are in a very catalytic stage where we have to become principled political activistas and not be facing the traditional 4-year contradiction of having to choose the worst of, or the least of the two evils. Eso ya basta. We have to look, 1992, the elections there. We have to look at a possible third and a fourth and a fifth party that we can unite around and begin to break away from this traditional two-party system. It's the same víbora con dos cabezas. Una cosa más que les quiero decir, que el Chicano movimiento nunca ha rindado sin ayudando los campesinos, los trabajadores, the United Farm Workers. We have had a direction since time immemorial, and we in the Chicano movement intend to make that rendezvous with our indigenous brothers and sisters. That means taking care of our campesinos, the United Farm Workers, and our leader, Cesar Chavez, who has sacrificed 36 days. We must know that these pesticides, we are faced with chemical warfare. The United States says that Iraq and Iran are throwing poisons at each other. Well, who is throwing poison on our people, if not the United States and their agribusiness and corporations? We have to be aware. We have to take responsibility into our hands. The future is bright for us.